Have you ever wondered why some people seem to bounce back from failure while others are crushed by it? The secret often lies not in their talent, but in their mindset. It's the lens through which you see the world. It shapes how you interpret your experiences, especially when things get tough. This internal belief system can either propel you forward or hold you back in chains. It's the silent narrator of your life story, telling you whether you're capable of greatness or destined to stay where you are. Understanding this fundamental concept is the first step toward unlocking a world of potential you may not even know you possess. My research has shown me that we live in one of two worlds, each defined by a different mindset. The first is the world of the fixed mindset. In this world, you believe your qualities are carved in stone. Your intelligence, your personality, your talents, they are what they are. You have a certain amount, and that's it. This belief creates an urgency to prove yourself over and over. If you have a fixed amount of intelligence, you must look smart at all costs. You can't risk looking foolish or making a mistake because it would feel like a permanent indictment of who you are. This world is filled with judgment and fear. The other world is one of a growth mindset. In this world, you believe that your basic qualities are things you can cultivate through your efforts. Yes, people differ in their initial talents and aptitudes, but everyone can change and grow through application and experience. Your true potential is unknown and unknowable. It's impossible to foresee what can be accomplished with years of passion, toil, and training. This belief fosters a love of learning and a resilience that is essential for great accomplishment. It allows you to thrive during some of the most challenging times in your life, turning obstacles into opportunities. These two mindsets lead to vastly different life paths. Think about a student who gets a poor grade on a math test. The student with a fixed mindset might conclude, "I'm just bad at math." They feel ashamed and stupid. They may avoid math in the future, afraid to confirm this negative label. The student with a growth mindset, however, would have a different reaction. They might think, "I didn't study the right way," or "I need to ask the teacher for help with these concepts." They see the poor grade not as a final verdict, but as an indicator that they need to apply more effort or try a new strategy. Challenges are an inevitable part of life. They're the mountains we must all climb. How you approach these mountains is determined entirely by your mindset. For someone with a fixed mindset, a challenge is a threat. It's a potential moment of failure where their perceived lack of ability will be exposed for all to see. They may avoid challenges altogether, sticking only to what they know they can do well. Or if a challenge is unavoidable, they may give up easily, believing that if they had the talent it would come naturally. They see effort as a sign of weakness, a signal that they're not inherently gifted. In stark contrast, a person with a growth mindset sees a challenge as an opportunity. It's a chance to learn, to stretch their abilities and to become stronger. They understand that difficult tasks are what make you smarter and more capable. Instead of running from the mountain, they start climbing. They know the path will be difficult and will require immense effort, but they embrace it. They see effort not as a sign of deficiency but as the very thing that activates their intelligence and builds their skills. Effort is the key that unlocks their potential, and they're not afraid to use it. Think about learning a new language. A person with a fixed mindset might try for a week and struggle to form sentences. They would likely conclude, "I just don't have a knack for languages." They would quit, cementing their belief that this ability is beyond them. Their fear of sounding foolish or making mistakes prevents them from engaging in the very practice required to learn. They're trapped by their own self-imposed limitations, unable to see a path forward because they believe no such path exists for them. They see the initial struggle as proof of their permanent inability. Now imagine someone with a growth mindset tackling the same task. They too would struggle. They would mispronounce words and make grammatical errors, but their inner voice would be different. They would think, "This is hard, but I am learning new things every day. My brain is forming new connections." They would seek out opportunities to practice, even if it meant feeling awkward. They would ask for corrections and view mistakes not as failures, but as helpful clues showing them what to work on next. For them, the struggle is not a sign to stop, it's a sign that they're growing. Changing your mindset is a journey, not an overnight transformation. It begins with a single, crucial step: awareness. You must first learn to listen to the voice of your fixed mindset. This is the inner critic that surfaces when you face setbacks or challenges. It's the voice that says, "You can't do this, you're not smart enough," or "If you fail, everyone will think you're a loser." Recognizing this voice is paramount. For many of us, it has been our constant companion for so long that we don't even notice its destructive whispers. Start by paying attention to your thoughts, especially when you're struggling or feeling judged. Once you have identified this fixed mindset voice, you have a choice. You do not have to accept its pronouncements as truth. You can talk back to it with a growth mindset voice. This is where a simple but powerful word comes into play: yet. Adding yet to the end of a fixed mindset thought instantly reframes it into a statement of growth. When you catch yourself thinking, "I don't understand this," you can consciously change it to, "I don't understand this yet." When you feel like saying, "I'm not good at public speaking," you can rephrase it as, "I'm not good at public speaking yet." This small linguistic shift is incredibly profound. The word yet opens up a pathway to the future. It acknowledges your current struggle without defining you by it. It implies that with more time, more effort, and more strategy, you can and will improve. "I can't do it" is a closed door, a dead end. "I can't do it yet" is an open road, filled with possibility. It transforms a moment of failure into a moment of learning on a longer journey. It gives you permission to be a work in progress, which is what we all are. It is a bridge from a fixed state to a dynamic one. Practicing this reframing is like exercising a muscle. At first, it might feel unnatural or forced. Your fixed mindset voice has had years of practice and can be very loud and convincing. But with persistence, the growth mindset voice will become stronger. You can consciously choose to interpret challenges, effort, and criticism in a new way. You can choose to see them as opportunities to grow, rather than as judgments on your worth. This conscious choice, repeated daily, is how you begin to rewire your brain and cultivate a mindset that serves you, supports you, and empowers you to reach for your goals. Your comfort zone is a place that feels safe and familiar. It's where you perform tasks you've already mastered, where the risk of failure is low. While it's nice to visit, you can't live there if you want to grow. A fixed mindset encourages you to build a fortress around your comfort zone. It tells you to stay put, to avoid anything that might reveal a weakness or require a struggle. It whispers that true talent shouldn't require effort, so if you're struggling, it's a sign you should retreat to what you know. This mindset keeps your world small, and your potential locked away. A growth mindset, on the other hand, urges you to step outside this zone. It understands that real learning happens when you're stretching yourself, operating at the very edge of your current abilities. This is the space where you make mistakes, feel awkward, and are forced to try new strategies. It's uncomfortable, but it's also where the magic happens. Every time you push beyond what is easy, you're building new neural pathways in your brain. You're literally becoming smarter and more capable. The growth mindset reframes this discomfort not as a danger signal, but as a sign that you're on the right track. Think of it like an athlete training for a competition. If a weightlifter only ever lifted weights that were easy for them, their muscles would never get stronger. They must consistently add more weight, pushing their body to its limits. This strain is what causes the muscle fibers to tear, and then rebuild, stronger than before. Your brain works in a remarkably similar way. When you challenge yourself with difficult problems or new skills, you're engaging in a form of mental weightlifting. The effort and struggle are what build your intellectual and creative muscles, expanding your capacity for the future. Therefore, I encourage you to actively seek out challenges. Sign up for that difficult course. Volunteer for a project that seems intimidating. Try learning that musical instrument you've always dreamed of playing. When you do, expect to feel uncomfortable. Expect to struggle. Do not interpret these feelings as a sign that you should stop. Instead, recognize them as the growing pains of a mind that is expanding. Celebrate the act of trying, of pushing your own boundaries. Your comfort zone will protect you from failure, but it will also protect you from your own potential and the rich, fulfilling life that awaits you just beyond its borders. In a fixed mindset, failure is a disaster. It is a verdict, a final judgment that you are not good enough. The experience is so painful that people will go to great lengths to avoid it. They may cheat, they may lie about their scores, or they may simply stop trying. After a failure, their primary response is to protect their ego. They might blame others, make excuses, or decide that the task was stupid anyway. They do not learn from the failure because they are too busy trying to deny it or run from its implications. This robs them of one of life's most powerful tools for growth. In a growth mindset, failure is reframed entirely. It is not a verdict, it is information. It is valuable feedback that tells you what is not working. It is a signpost pointing you toward a new strategy. It is an essential, unavoidable, and even welcome part of the learning process. People with a growth mindset are not happy about failing, but they are not devastated by it either. Their response is to confront it head-on. They analyze what went wrong, what they can learn from the experience, and how they can apply that knowledge to do better next time. They see failure as a problem to be solved, not a personal indictment. Consider the story of Michael Jordan, widely regarded as the greatest basketball player of all time. He was famously cut from his high school varsity basketball team. A person with a fixed mindset might have given up, concluding they just didn't have the talent. But Jordan used that failure as motivation. He said, "I have missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I have lost almost 300 games. 26 times, I have been trusted to take the game-winning shot and missed. I have failed over and over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeed." He understood that setbacks were part of his journey to greatness. This is the gift that failure offers you. Every mistake, every setback, and every rejection contains a lesson. It might be a lesson about your preparation, your strategy, your approach, or your focus. If you can silence the voice of the fixed mindset that screams "you failed," you can begin to listen for the quieter voice of the growth mindset that asks, "What can I learn from this?" When you embrace failure as a teacher rather than an enemy, you unlock a powerful cycle of improvement. You become more resilient, more creative, and ultimately more successful, because you are no longer afraid to try. For a long time, it was believed that the brain was a static organ. The prevailing idea was that your intelligence was fixed from birth, and that after a certain point in childhood, the brain's structure did not change significantly. This is the scientific-sounding basis for a fixed mindset. However, groundbreaking discoveries in neuroscience over the past few decades have completely overturned this notion. We now know that the brain has a remarkable quality called neuroplasticity. This means that your brain is not fixed. It is malleable and constantly changing in response to your experiences. Neuroplasticity is the brain's ability to reorganize itself by forming new neural connections throughout life. Every time you learn something new, practice a skill, or even just think a new thought, you are physically changing the structure of your brain. When you practice playing the guitar, the connections between the neurons in the brain regions responsible for finger movement and sound processing become stronger and more efficient. When you struggle with a complex math problem, you are forging new pathways that make it easier to tackle similar problems in the future. Your brain is a dynamic living network that grows with use. This is not just a comforting theory, it is a biological fact. Studies have shown that the brain changes in measurable ways. For example, London taxi drivers, who are required to memorize the city's labyrinthine street layout, have been found to have a significantly larger hippocampus, a part of the brain crucial for spatial memory, than the average person. Their brains physically grew to accommodate the demands placed upon them. This demonstrates that dedicated effort and learning can change not just your abilities, but the very hardware of your mind. Your brain is more like a muscle than a stone. It strengthens with exercise. Understanding the science of neuroplasticity is incredibly empowering. It provides concrete evidence that your efforts matter. It proves that you are not stuck with the brain you were born with. This knowledge gives you a firm foundation for a growth mindset. When the fixed mindset voice tells you that you are just not a math person, you can counter it with the scientific fact that your brain can create new math-related pathways through practice. You are the architect of your own intellect. The effort you put in today is literally building the brain you will have tomorrow, making you more capable and intelligent. In our highly connected world, it is incredibly easy to fall into the trap of comparison. We are constantly exposed to the curated successes of others on social media, in the news, and in our social circles. A fixed mindset thrives on this comparison. It is always measuring your worth against the abilities and achievements of others. If someone else succeeds, it can feel like your own failure. This constant social comparison creates anxiety, envy, and a sense of inadequacy. It turns life into a competitive race where you are always looking over your shoulder, worried about who is ahead of you and who is catching up. A growth mindset encourages you to shift your focus from others to yourself. It teaches you that the most important measure of success is your own personal progress. The goal is not to be better than someone else. The goal is to be better than you were yesterday. This inward focus liberates you from the toxic cycle of comparison. The success of others is no longer a threat. Instead, it can become a source of inspiration and learning. You can admire someone's achievement and ask, what strategies did they use? What can I learn from their journey, rather than feeling diminished by it? This shift requires a conscious effort to redefine success. Instead of defining success as winning or being the best, you can define it as learning, improving, and putting forth your best effort. Celebrate your own milestones, no matter how small they may seem. Did you finally understand a concept that was confusing you? That is a success. Did you practice a skill for 15 minutes when you didn't feel like it? That is a success. Did you ask for help when you were stuck? That is a massive success. By acknowledging and celebrating your own progress, you build momentum and reinforce the belief that you are capable of growth. Remember that everyone is on their own unique journey. You're only seeing a small snapshot of other people's lives, usually their highlight reel, not their struggles, their failures, or their years of hard work. Comparing your behind-the-scenes reality to their public facade is not only unfair, it is counterproductive. Your path is your own. Focus on the steps you are taking, the effort you are applying, and the progress you are making. This is the true path to fulfillment and achievement. Your journey is not about beating others to a finish line, it is about becoming the best possible version of yourself. Adopting a growth mindset is not a final destination you arrive at. It is a continuous practice, a choice you make again and again every single day. There will be times when your old fixed mindset habits reappear, especially when you are tired, stressed, or facing a significant setback. The inner critic might become loud and persuasive. This is normal and expected. The goal is not to eliminate the fixed mindset entirely, but to recognize it when it appears and to consciously choose the growth-minded response instead. Be patient and compassionate with yourself throughout this process. To make this choice easier, you can integrate simple, actionable strategies into your daily life. Start a journal, and at the end of each day, write down one challenge you faced and how you handled it. Reflect on what you learned from the experience, regardless of the outcome. You can also use affirmations, but make them growth-oriented. Instead of "I am a genius," try "I love a good challenge," or "I believe in my ability to learn and grow." Surround yourself with a supportive community. Share your goals with friends or mentors who encourage effort and see setbacks as learning opportunities. Now I want to end with a call to action. Do not just read these words and feel inspired for a moment. Put them into practice today. Identify one area in your life where you hold a fixed mindset. It could be about your artistic ability, your fitness level, or your capacity to understand technology. Acknowledge the belief, "I am bad at drawing." Now take one small concrete step to challenge it. You don't have to produce a masterpiece. Just take out a piece of paper and a pencil, find an object in your room, and spend 10 minutes trying to sketch it. That's it. The point of this exercise is not the quality of the drawing. The point is the act of trying. The point is to prove to yourself that you can engage with something you thought you were bad at. Celebrate that you took this small step. You stepped out of your comfort zone. You applied effort. You chose growth. This is how the journey begins, one small, intentional act at a time. The choice to grow is the most powerful choice you can make. It is a choice that transforms not only what you can achieve, but who you can become. Embrace it, and unlock the limitless potential that lies within you. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more content on growth and self-improvement. Your support helps us reach more people and create even better videos for you.